your fucking pride.
Monkey D. Goofy. D. Goofy. I'm the slobber this bad guy.
Why would they do that, bro?
Bro, because it's get you ready, don't Yeah, no!
What is good, people? It's your boy T-Rav. Forgive me, I'm sweating. My AC's out. That's okay. We crack on anyway, right? Because I'm dedicated. I'm dedicated to the people. So if you are here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. This is the Nope review. Now, where do I start, man? Where do I start? If you hadn't planned on watching this movie, go watch it. Go watch it. Don't give it a second thought. Just go watch it. Heavy spoilers incoming. So just don't. I'm not going to say my review is going to ruin anything for you, because this is a sick movie regardless. But, yeah, I would go watch it first. So, man. Yeah, so this is one of them movies, dog, where I couldn't help but keep smiling when I left the theater. That's how good it was. Make sure to try, if you can, watch it with the Dolby Cinema, okay? Because we had the fucking sounds going all around. Oh, man, and the fucking seats is rumbling with the sound. I'm telling you, it completely adds to the experience. Now, this movie is based in our regular world. Everything's normal, so it's all normal for the most part. Obviously, there's aliens involved if you watch the trailers and all that, but really and truly, we only see one spaceship. Now, I must give a shout out to Jordan Peele right off the top, man, because, you know, his movies have been really good to me, but this takes it to another level, dog. Like, this is by far, to me, his best movie, okay? And not just because I'm a sci-fi tard and all that, you know. It's like, I really think that overall, this movie is excellent. Trailers didn't give away too much, all that. So we start off, we start off with this scene on a TV show, like a sitcom setup, and a bunch of people have been killed. Everyone has abandoned the venue and all that, and there's this monkey covered in blood, all this shit, and he just murked a bunch of people. Now we get to see what actually happens with all that later on, but it has to deal with Steven Yeun's character, the guy that runs, you know, the Jupiter Carnival place. Man, but the main story is focused on the Haywood family. Now, the Haywood family is the descendants of basically the guy in the very first motion picture. He was a black man riding on a horse for just 2 seconds, but they looped it somehow and made the first motion picture way back in the day. Now, what they're trying to do is Daniel Kaluuya's character, OJ, you know, Otis Hayward Jr., and then Emerald Hayward is his sister, playing Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya respectively. Now, this is just so good, man. It's so good because they're trying to make a living, and they're having a hard time because, you know, they sell horses, they train them, but they're involved with the movie business and stuff like that. And apparently their father has done very well for himself. It seems like things have definitely been slowing down at this point. They're kind of struggling to make certain ends meet, things like that. So we see, you know, OJ take this horse that he has to go to a Hollywood set. Things kind of go bad. It doesn't work out. They don't end up, you know, using the horse, and they don't end up making money from it. So what he has to do is essentially sell off his horses to Steven Yeun, who is running this carnival place out there in the middle of nowhere, basically, is where they're at. And dog, shit starts hitting the fan very, very fast. Now, you see at first, his dad's still there, he's still alive, all that. And they're out training the horses. It's all normal. You can already tell from the jump that his sister is not involved like that, and she's definitely not. That's not really her type of life. She's definitely a lot younger. She's trying to be an influencer. She's trying to do all these different things, and she's trying to get all these side businesses going, but she's a hell of a salesman. So she's the one that comes in and gives the speeches and gives the pitches to the big time movie companies and stuff like that for them to go with them. But when they're out here and he has to go look for his sister, he don't even make it but a few feet away, dog. and all of a sudden shit starts raining down from the sky. And you think it's like hail or something, but it's not. It's just all different types of shit. Coins, keys, license plates, random shit. And his father gets fucking deaded, basically. He gets hit in the face, in the eye, and that shit goes basically halfway into his brain. OJ rushes to try and save him, stuff like that. He's driving him to the hospital, but you can see he's trying to have him recite shit, you know, to make sure he's still good. But you see blood fucking gushing from his eye and shit like that, and you know it's not gonna end well. And he does end up passing away. Now, after that, you could tell that OJ is definitely on guard. He can't explain what happened, but the explanation is, oh, a plane lost a bunch of its cargo or something like that, and that's why this random shit fell to the ground. Now, he doesn't believe that, clearly. But, you know, he still has to crack on, handle the family business, keep trying to sell horses. Shit is not going well. You can see there's a touch of tension between him and his sister, because his sister doesn't have any type of sense of responsibility. And I love her character, honestly. Like, I love both of them, to be real. But she definitely plays that shit very well. The irresponsible little sister. But she has talent in other ways, but she never really commits to any one thing and tries to make that thing great. She's too spread out trying to do all these different things. Now, she comes back to the ranch or whatever, and they're getting pressured to sell the ranch by Steven Yeun's character, because obviously they're not making enough money. They can barely make ends meet at this point. And he's even going to go as far as to try and buy back the horses at some point. I don't know how that was ever going to work out, but that is what his plan was. Because you can tell he's definitely he's really dedicated to the ranch. He wants to make sure it succeeds and carry on his father's legacy. Now, it all goes to hell when him and his sister come back. You know, they're getting fucked up a little bit. Mainly his sister, you know, she's smoking on that Hollyweed. And, breaking into their father's liquor cabinet for the first time. Obviously, they both, you know, OJ signs off on it too, because, you know, he wants to have a little bit of fun as well. But you can tell he's not fully engaged with that. And then his sister asks, why is that horse out in the arena? And so randomly there's just a horse out there. It was his father's old horse that was out there. And then he takes off, whatnot. And OJ goes out to try and investigate what's going on, and weird shit just starts happening, dog. He's hearing shit. He's hearing screams from the sky, shit like that. The horse gets spooked, like hardcore, takes off, and he doesn't really understand what's going on, but I think he catches a glimpse of it traveling in the sky. Now, he doesn't know what it is, and he doesn't want to say what he thinks it is, but we all know what that motherfucker is. It's a fucking UFO, okay? It looks like that, but you know, whenever you say something like that, people's gonna think that you're crazy as hell. So he ends up telling his sister, and then random other stuff starts happening as well that I think kind of brings her on board, to where they're like, okay, there's some weird shit's happening. We're not just gonna accept this bogus excuse for why our father was killed. Let's try and make some money off of this. Because you have to understand, people. I know this sounds like, why would you do that? Why would you just not go report it? Because what the hell do you think is gonna happen? Okay, you see fake alien videos online all the time. They mention all that weird weather phenomena videos, all that people can explain away. And unless you got hardcore proof that aliens exist, then no one's gonna fucking believe you. And honestly, they're probably gonna take all your shit, lock you away, throw away the key. Alright, Looney Tune status. But they go to Fry's Electronics, get the equipment they need, because anytime this UFO comes around, everything starts losing power and going dead when it's in the near vicinity. Even cell phones, which shouldn't, you think it wouldn't be possible, but it's basically just anything that runs off electricity, battery powered or not, it gets taken out when this motherfucker's around. So, with the help of Angel, you know, our guy from Fry's Electronics, who comes out and installs all this stuff, you know, he's asking questions at first, but the comedy is on point in this movie, I must say, because it's just hilarious, because it's real stuff. Like, you know, they're keeping the secret from him. He's asking all these questions. They ain't giving him shit, but they make him come all the way out this way, install all this stuff. And his sister goes off. She's like, oh, yeah, it's going to take you more than an hour. All right, I'm going to go pop out right quick. And what does she do? She goes out and she steals a horse decoy, I guess, for horse training or whatever. But that comes into play in a major way later on. But over and over again now, shit starts happening. They get all these cameras installed, but, you know, shit's blocking the camera or different little things happen. So they go the extra mile and actually reach out to one of the Hollywood directors that they met before at that first photo shoot or the first commercial that they were, you know, trying to train a horse for. And he doesn't come in until way later because obviously he don't fucking believe it. Well, they're not even really telling him what he's coming there to do, but he don't believe that shit, obviously. And he's like, it's a waste of my time. So they're trying to capture all this stuff on video. Horses are getting taken like every other night or something like that. Like if they're out, horses is getting taken as a whole. They don't know where they're going. There's no explanation for it. None of that. And I think it's really sick in this movie because while a lot of movies you would expect them to explain some of that stuff, you don't need it here. And honestly, you don't want it. It just builds the suspense and builds the mystery surrounding what is actually happening. And so that night, he goes out, you know, he's doing some work and stuff. And then the horse stalls, all of a sudden, all the lights come on in there. And he goes in there and turns it off. Starts walking away. Shit comes back on. And when shit comes back on, he goes up and turns it off again. And when he turns around, he sees a fucking alien. Okay, and I'm not gonna lie, this fucking scene was hilarious, but it was creepy as shit when you first saw it. And it looks like, you know, the stereotypical alien you probably think of. Fucking big ass eyes, weird shaped head or whatever, black body, gray face, all that. And this motherfucker's crouched down. And then all of a sudden it starts standing up all crazy and shit. And he's backing up. He's trying to capture footage on his flip phone. Alright, and he is. And then all of a sudden you see another one. And then he's backing up more and more. This bitch is coming after him, sneaking around the corner real slow. Shit like that. And then he's backing up towards one of the horse stalls. And then one's hanging down upside down right behind him. And when he fucking feels that and sees that, he fucking turns around and sucks that motherfucker in the face. Shit was so funny, dog. But as it turns out, it's actually... these three aliens are the children of the guy who runs the carnival, Steven's character, right? And they were playing a prank, obviously, to get back at him for stealing one of their decoy horses or whatever. But, so I think it kind of, they probably think, okay, we're probably just tripping a bit. But nothing really slows down. You keep seeing this cloud during the day or at night. It never ever moves. Mainly during the day. Like there's just this one cloud, and even Angel is the one that actually points it out to him because he's kind of stalking them, watching their cameras and shit. And so he actually plays the footage to show them, okay, look, all the clouds is going as normal, but this one cloud essentially never moves. And then he realizes, oh shit, like I've probably been staring at this same cloud for the last 6 months. And so they're gonna die more and more, try and get the scoop and get the money shot, as they call it, the Oprah shot, to make sure and prove for real that aliens exist. Because M wants to just go ahead like, oh, okay, this shit is crazy, too much weird shit is happening, we got the proof, right? I mean, you know, this fucking cloud, it don't move, all this, we got it fully on camera. But it's like, no, and Angel points it out to him. It's like there's all types of videos on different weird weather phenomenons that happen, and so that's not necessarily proof. You have to capture either the alien or the ship, like clear cut on footage. And I can't express to you how real their reactions are to some of this shit, right? Because when all this weird stuff starts happening, they're like, fuck this. Like, I'm not trying to be here. My motherfucking life's in danger. Okay, shit is too weird for me. It's crazy. Even M starts getting like, she starts getting a little scared about all the situation. She wants to be done with it, and have Otis leave, all this other stuff. But he's like, no, we gotta get this motherfucker. Obviously, he probably has an axe to grind against him because of what they did to his father. But at the same time, it's like, you have to really think about it. Like I said, if you go with this proof right here, you're going to lose absolutely every last bit of your credibility, and people are not going to take you serious about nothing if you don't end up in one of the white jackets. Okay? So, later on, Steven Yeun's character, who's been, trying to buy their ranch, shit like that, he had invited him earlier in the week to come to this brand new show that they're going to do. Apparently, he knows about this ship. And for the longest time, he's seen it and has never, publicized it or made anything about it. Now, the reason why I think that's the case is because no one in particular would believe him. Now, the reason why that is that he was a huge child acting star, stuff like that. He even has all his old memorabilia and stuff like that. And he shows M and all that when they come in for business meetings. And they explain the story about Gordy. Now, Gordy was a monkey back in the day. And that's the very first scene that we see. And he kind of explains the tragedy that took place. Now, when I tell you that they show this scene again, and it's fucking wild, dog. It is so wild. Because, that shit happens. That shit happens in real life, too. People have these wild animals in here, and they think it's all good, and then, until it's not. You know what I'm saying? So, they, in this scene or whatever, in the sitcom, they let out some balloons. It's all hunky-dory, and then one of them pops, and then the monkey goes crazy. He starts beating the fuck out of all these people, and he kills almost every single one of them. Steven Yeun's hiding underneath the table, and his co-star, teenage girl, or whatever, bro, you get to see kind of from behind the couch or whatever, you see her feet and the bottom half of her legs and stuff, but you don't see her face and her upper body. But then when this monkey's already fucked her up, when he sees that she's still moving and twitching on the ground, he comes back and he starts beating the fucking shit out of her, dog. This shit was crazy. And he starts fucking tearing her apart. I mean, he's eating her face and all that. We don't see that, but we do see her character later on because she's hella disabled, obviously, at this point, but she still comes to, Steven Yeun's carnival thing, and so she can watch his shows and whatnot, all that, right? Well, he tries to unveil this brand new show where they're gonna not expose, but he's gonna try and bring the aliens in as a part of this show and show, hey, this UFO type shit is real. But he's not giving them all that information, obviously. But he has one of the horses that Otis sold to him, and the horse in a glass box, caged up or whatever, so it can't run away. But he's gonna use the horse's bait to draw out the UFO, obviously, and it does not go according to plan, needless to say. They start the show, and he was like, yeah, in an hour they'll show up, so in the meantime we'll do this and have all this other little stuff. No, them niggas pulled up early, dog. He was like, oh, this is new. Don't be afraid. Stay in your seats. Don't take, pictures and shit like that. That motherfucker pulls up on them and scoops all their ass up. And it's wild because when this thing pulls up, it causes a fucking tornado, basically. And so it's a little bit tough to see, but you see all these people getting fucking sucked up. And it's weird because when they do, they show you them for a couple seconds, but it looks like they're in a stomach or in a living thing, which is weird. Later on, you find out that the UFO is not holding aliens. The UFO is the alien. It's like a predator all of its own. And it's sick because later on in the movie, even further, Otis realizes that it is actually a living being, a predator all of its own, and you're not supposed to look it in the eye. Now, the reason why he knows that is because obviously he has heavy experience dealing with animals, shit like that. But in the very first couple scenes in the movie, when he's, you know, got the horse at this commercial shoot, someone comes, is like, he's like, don't look it in the eye. Someone like a jackass comes and put a fucking mirror right in the horse's face, acting like an idiot, and he kind of wilds out for a second. So, and he starts breaking it down, like, okay, you're not going to tame this animal. And he says that's where Steve fucked up, because all them niggas disappeared. There's no evidence of where they went. You know, people have no idea what happened. But that actually made big time news. So now Host comes back into play, the director that they try to reach out to, and he's like, yeah, I'm in. Like, and when he first comes out there, it's crazy because he first gets out there and he all of a sudden is like, you know, that cloud hasn't moved at all. I knew it. Like, what the fuck? This thing can move right away. So he's going to help him get the money shot, obviously. But OJ was saying how when it comes to a predator, you don't try to just tame it like that. You have to come to an agreement with it. And they find out after a while that if you don't look at it, then you'll be fine. But it uses basically every method to make that happen. It literally keeps people inside of it and lets you hear all their screams and amplifies it. And it's so crazy because the Dolby Cinema was going hard as fuck. Because whenever this motherfucker was whooshing across the screen and all that, you feel it. And you hear that motherfucker coming across the way. You hear the screams going to this side and that side. So I know it's like crazy loud and it's overwhelming. And what would your instinct be when a motherfucking thing like that pulls up on you, dog? You're gonna probably look at it. But now that they know that, they're gonna take precautions and all that, but they have to really try and draw it out. Because like I said, any digital or electronic shit does not work when you're trying to film it or capture it on camera, stuff like that. And once they hadn't quite figured that part out yet about looking it in the eye, but you can tell that they have pissed this thing off, because what happened is that it mistaked the horse decoy for an actual horse and ate it, but it got caught because it's like a living thing. I guess it got caught in his windpipe or something, and you can see like the carnival string hanging off of it still. And later on, you can tell that it really pissed that motherfucker off, because then you hear all these screams, and all of a sudden it goes completely silent. It comes over their house, and it dumps the blood of all of those victims covering the house, like soaking the house. This shit is crazy as fuck. I wouldn't know what to do at that point, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have been like, alright, we're good, we're done, we're just moving away, we're moving to another country. But obviously they're not gonna do that. They come too far at this point, and they have to get the proof. Not only they're not doing it to save other people, but at the end of the day, it would be beneficial for people to know in case there's more of these things. But we never get any explanation on that there's more or where the thing came from. All you know is that it's here. It's just there's only one, and that stays true throughout the movie. It's just crazy, man, because then they start going through this whole elaborate plan. A host springs out like some old analog type shit where you got to crank that motherfucker in order for it to keep running, but it's very, very smart, because that is what is going to allow them to actually capture it on film. They set this whole elaborate trap where they start playing music and doing all this different stuff to draw it out. And, you know, OJ goes out on horseback, but he knows obviously not to look at it. He puts blinders on the horse, so it's not going to take the horse either. But it's just wild. And then a TMZ dude pulls up because he's heard about the news. And that's the dude in the gray helmet on the motorcycle, if you saw the trailers. This motherfucker got snapped up, boy. He came out and just started questioning them hard as fuck. He started questioning his sister. What do you know about this and this and this? Like, oh, dude, like, you need to get out of here. Don't go that way. Like, if you want to be good. Yeah, obviously doesn't work out well. So he takes off and he gets halfway down the road. Obviously the UFO is close because his electric bike goes dead. He gets flung off it. He's fucked up. And OJ comes over to kind of try and save him, but he's like, listen to me, keep your helmet on, look down, stuff like that. No, nigga doesn't listen. He's frazzled. He didn't know what the fuck's going on. He's like, call someone to help me. Like, no. And OJ does the smart thing. I'm sorry. This nigga got back on the horse and net, son. Okay? That is so on point. It's so on point. Because I'm like, I'm sorry, my nigga. I'm not going to risk my life for you. Okay? I'm not going to do it. Yeah. No, that's literally just it. But at this point in the movie, now you start seeing this thing is like, it ain't even really trying to hide no more, dog. Like, it's popping out over the mountains, and it's going fast, and it's pulling up on their ass and hiding, and then coming back out again, trying to catch them off guard. And it's wild. Holst does end up dying because he hops out undercover because they can't get that great shot, and kind of leaves it up to Angel to man the other equipment so he can keep recording on that end. But he takes his handheld shit out there to go and get the money shot, as they say. And I do wonder if they were actually able to recover that or not, because a whole lot of wild stuff is happening. They set up this whole crazy elaborate plan. They got these, the shit that flies out in front of car dealerships. They plant those all around the ranch so they can know, and they're hooked up to car batteries so they know whenever this thing is pulling up, they'll be able to tell by which ones are going down exactly where it is, right? And OJ is leading this thing out in the middle of the motherfucking road, and it's pulling up on him, and he gets a bit fucked up, but he's able to kind of get away. Then it comes after Holst, snatches him up. It almost gets Angel too, but he gets lucky as fuck, and the tarp covers his eyes and makes him roll down the hill because the wind's going crazy. And so he gets saved in that way. But then M realizes that she's going to try and get out of there, but OJ realizes that it's kind of coming after her, so he does what he needs to do to draw that motherfucker out. And it's like they end up showing the full form of this UFO because it kind of transforms into what its actual form is. I guess it kind of unfolds into what it is. I can't even describe it. You just gotta go see it. But it's wild. The CGI and animation, all that, it's like so clean. So clean. So shout out to Universal for that. Y'all released a hell of a lot of flops, especially this year, but this was not a flop. Not by any stretch of the imagination, okay? And the soundtrack is banging the whole time. It just fits so well. The characters, man, like, I have to... OJ and M, man, like, Daniel Kaluuya is a hell of an actor. I didn't think that Keke Palmer was that great of an actor. I'm not gonna say she's a great actor, but she did her fucking thing in this movie, and it was sick. Their dynamic, it really does feel like they're brother and sister. And, a sequence of events happens. Like I said, this is one of the most hardest reviews I've ever had to do because it's so hard to explain, and I really want to go watch it a couple more times to figure out what really was going on. But like I said, this thing is a predator, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to have the most intelligence. So, like I said before, it took up the decoy horse, thinking that it was a real horse, when you would think something like that, like an alien being, would be of like a super high intelligence. But no, it's really just like, it's like an apex predator. So OJ takes steps, and considering how what happened last time, something was tied to the carnival flags that were strewn out all over the ground. He realizes, okay, if I have stuff like that on me or tied to me, it's going to be much, much more reluctant to take me. And he kind of draws it out in that way. And he's basically staring down this motherfucker. And it unfolds in full. And it's crazy looking, dog. It's crazy. And then you see, like, the eye of it, I guess. But it, like, it almost looks like green and white curtains. It's wild, bro. It's wild. But you can see that it's like pulsing at him and then trying to intimidate him and stuff. He obviously doesn't look up at it, stuff like that. So it's like they're kind of locked off in a standoff right now. But it makes plays to go back into Carnival Town, and she releases the big, huge blow up blimp thing of Steven's character. And being as it doesn't realize that that's not a real being or whatever, it tries to eat that as well, and it blows up inside of it, fucking it up like majorly. I don't even know if it's dead. So, but she also is able to get like a old school, not an old school, but like a real deal photograph of it using one of the exhibits at the carnival and stuff like that by the skin of her teeth. She was getting fucking sucked up while she was trying to run away, but she kept going. She never looked up, and it was too clean, dog. Like I said, the CGI is just so well done. And I'm not some big CGI expert, but to me, shit looked clean. The sounds, the soundtrack goes hard as hell. The characters are so relatable, dog. Because I'm not gonna lie, I did not think this movie was gonna be that funny. And, you know, he's from Key and Peele, obviously Jordan Peele, so you know he has that in his bag. But to see some of their reactions after some of this stuff goes down, it's like, it's so relatable and real that, like, you feel that. And you can't help but laugh, dog. Because, like, there's this one scene where this nigga Otis went and got, you know, Lucky the horse back, after it had taken Steven Union and the whole carnival. And the aliens harassing the house, and then it starts trying to come after him, and it dumps a bunch of shit on him, and it dumps back out the decoy horse or whatever, and it comes through the windshield of Otis's car, and he's driving this heavy rain, but at that point he stopped because it's come close to him. The decoy horse drops, and then he cracks the door to see why the rain stopped and shit like that. And then the lightning flickers, and then you just see that big motherfucker in the darkness, and he fucking boop, click. Bro, that shit was so funny, dog. It was so on point. So I'm not gonna belabor the point. Yeah, dog. I would say my only nitpicks about this movie is how certain things are just completely left unexplained. One thing I think was like that we could have used a bit of explanation on is the animals. There's certain animals, like earlier when they after Angel comes and installs the video cameras, the praying mantis like goes on to the camera and does not leave off of the camera, and you know M's trying to get it off and stuff. At that point she isn't able to do that, but as soon as, you know, the alien leaves, so does the praying mantis. During the Gordy stuff that was happening when the monkey massacred all them people, you see this one shoe that's standing straight up. There's really no explanation for it, but it's like in the middle of the floor, and it's just standing straight up right in front of him. What was that? And then the horses. What exactly was it doing to some of the horses? Because like we don't really get an explanation of how like the horse, like some of the horses got into the arena, stuff like that. So I do think if we could have got a touch of explanation on just, was the alien controlling the horses, or can it control animals in general, stuff like that. We don't really know. We never get an answer as to whether or not this is a one-of-a-kind alien, if there's more, where it came from, none of that. But that stuff I'm fine with. Honestly, that ambiguity around it all just adds more suspense, and it makes you feel like you're just like OJ and M, because they don't have none of that knowledge, so clearly we don't need it either. Like, we're just completely left in the dark on all that stuff. One last thing I think we could have seen after the alien gets really badly hurt after, you know, it tries to eat the blimp thing. It starts kind of floating off, but it looks like it's dying, but it doesn't fall to the ground or nothing like that. And then we don't really get to see it again. So we don't know exactly how all that resolved in their world. Like, obviously I think at that point everyone would know about the existence of aliens. They kind of got hard proof at this point, but we don't get any of that. That stuff is fine. I think the animal stuff is the only thing I kind of wanted a little bit more explanation on. And then also, why did it only just start happening after his father died? Because you could say they had just pulled up, but I don't know if that's the case. It seems like the alien had been around there for a while. The way OJ explained it is that this predator found this territory and believes that it's his. So anyone that, you know, I guess goes against it or like just wanders around on willy-nilly in his territory, like, you're free game because he is the apex. But why wasn't it doing that to their family before, or his father before? Like, his father never mentions any of that stuff. He doesn't really get a chance to because he isn't in the movie all that long. But I think that's one other little thing that I'm just curious to know. But overall, bro, I had to give this movie a 9.5. I'll have to rewatch it again to know for sure, but it might be creeping up towards a 10. When I say that this is a M.O.T.Y candidate, like, come on now. Come on, man. Come on, man. There's a real short list right now of what are true M.O.T.Y contenders. And I don't know, dog. This might be the movie of the year. The characters are sick. The directing is fire. This, like I said, this is by far Jordan Peele's best movie. Daniel Kaluuya goes hard as hell. Steven Yeun does his thing. I know my guy's from Walking Dead, but he got some chops on him now. He got some chops on him. And Keke Palmer surprised the fuck out of me. I think it's because they're like Daniel Kaluuya and Keke's chemistry just works so well. The way they bounce off of each other, you really feel like they're family and stuff like that. And throughout the movie, the escalation, the suspense, it never lets up, and it just keeps on going up. So that's why I have to give this movie a 9.5. Make sure to check it out if you have not. If you stay through all this, it doesn't matter if you hadn't seen it. Just go watch it anyway. You won't be disappointed. This is really a one-of-a-kind movie in my book. Like, I don't feel like I've seen another movie like this. And it doesn't have to try too hard. Like, I was thinking before, like, oh, we're going to have to see aliens and stuff like that. But no, like, it subverts your expectations in certain ways that keeps it fresh and keeps it unique. And I really think that that's why this movie stands out. So let me know what you thought about the movie. Who was your favorite character? All that, man. Like, what would your reaction, what would you do in that situation? Because remember, like I said, now me, I'm just dipping. I'm not going to tell nobody, I'm just dipping. Okay, I'm a bitch. That's clear. Yeah, I'll be out. No other questions asked. Sorry, Dad. I'm out of this motherfucker. Sell the ranch, we get the fuck up out of here. But what would your reaction to be in that situation? How would you deal with that? And yeah, just let me know what you thought about the movie as a whole. Do you think that this is Jordan Peele's best movie? And do you kind of go along the lines with me? Do you think that this is one of the best movies of the year? Because I certainly do. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought. It's been your boy T-Rav. I'm out.